So now in this part of the tutorial, we're going to talk about the objects. As you can remember, in the data types, we explained a bit about the objects and created some objects like this, list of students. But here we're going to get into more details of the objects in JavaScript. So let me create a new file and call it objects.js. Also, let me copy this. What is the last one? Wait, what was it? Okay, it was functions. So copy and paste functions, rename it, and call it objects.html, and change functions.js to objects.js. So that's it, and let me get into the objects. So for example, imagine that I want to enter the specifications of a student. So student 1, and you can write curly brackets, and you can write all of the object inside one line, or you can break it into multiple lines. It's totally up to you. So this time I'm just in a different way from the data types. I'm going to break the object into different lines. You can also write let or without let. Here I can say let student 1, and then here I can write the specifications of student 1. Name, colon, and then, okay, it says that it has a problem with name, so let me write it with capital letter. And here, double quote for the dictionary, and the name can be written here. So for example, Helen, and the next line, last name, or let me write it in already, last name, colon, and then we have Helen. Okay, no difference. Helen Keller, for example, the famous Helen Keller. And notice that here we need commas as well between each of the items of the object. And here you can have the age, and we can write, let us try the number without double quotes and see if it works here. So 25, and so we're gonna check whether this one works. And we have name, last name, age, and okay, let me change this to make it more realistic. Level, graduate, don't forget about the commas here as well, graduate, or undergrad, I can write undergraduate, or I can say that bachelor student, better, bachelor student. Okay, and you can write any different other different specifications about this student. So let us try console.log. So because we have console.log, the object itself here, I'm going to write one of the specifications, one of the keywords of this object. So here, for example, I can write student1.age. So let me save the code and let us look for the file related to the objects. So we have operators and objects. Objects are here. Operate with Google Chrome. and inspect the elements console, and here we have 21 DH, so it works. And as a result, you don't have to just write strings in here. It could be any kind of a variable. It could even be an object within an object. So let's try that. So it's just the same as dictionaries, okay? No difference. The only difference that it is here in the JavaScript. So here I can write, okay, what else? So for example, we can write her grades, okay? So for example, I can write grades, and then you have a new object here. Let us try if we can write objects within an object. And here, for example, I can write the name of her lessons, for example, calculus, right? Calculus. And then write her grades next to calculus. So for example, she got 80 out of 100 in calculus, and then she got for the geometry she got, don't forget about the comma here, I keep forgetting all the time. So she got 90, she had a better geometry. And I'm not sure about the lessons, okay? I'm just writing out of my mind, on top of my mind. So for example, I can write philosophy, okay? It doesn't have anything to do with the mathematics, but I'm just writing it. Okay, why is it like this? Okay, this is not comma, this is single quote. Okay, and for example, she wasn't good in philosophy, so she got 70. Okay, so here let us console.log. Console.log. Inside of the parentheses, I can write student1 dot grades dot geometry. Let us save this, and the result should be 90. So save this and see what the Google Chrome shows us. 90, just as expected. So here we can have an object within an object. Okay, cool. And also let us imagine that we want to, for example, we want to have other things. For example, married, false. False and comma. Okay, so false is written with small, it's not capital. And okay, let me also change her marital status. Console.log student1 dot married. Save this and refresh Google Chrome. False. The result is false. And okay, we have Boolean here as well. Also, we can write the full name of this student. So her full name, and then okay, let me fix this full name, colon. Also here, don't forget about the comma after the object. And then for the full name, we can write a function here. So we can even write a function within the object. Cool. So function, and you can open a block, and inside of it we can write return. And here, for referring to the object that we are inside of it, we can use this. And this is used a lot of times inside JavaScript for different purposes, but here not, and we will explain that later in the next tutorials. It has a lot of applications. There are a lot of times we use this. So the use cases are very wide, but here this refers to the student, and here I can write this dot and this dot name. And by the way, I can write first name here. There's no need to write name because that will be considered as a full name. First name, last name, and here is the full name. So, and we have plus, we have the quotation mark, another plus, and then we have another this dot, and here it should also be modified to first name. This one to also be last name. So we also need a space within this double quote for having a space between the first name and the last name. Okay, there seems to be a problem here because we've got a problem. Okay, the functions should have parentheses. The code editor sometimes shows you the problem you have in the way to fix it. So there we go, we have the function and we have other things as well. Okay, let us check the full name of the student1. Console log student1 dot full name. Okay, great. Save this and see what is the full name of student1. Oh, we seem to have a problem here because we've just printed out the function instead of the result of the function. Okay, so let me check this one out. So the function should work, and the reason it's not working is because we haven't write parentheses here. So let's save this and refresh Google Chrome. As you can see, it's Helen Claire, the complete name. So this one works. So always remember that when you're working with the functions in JavaScript, you need to write the parentheses, even though you don't have any input parameter, and it's just a case of the output parameter. You still need to have these parentheses either when you want to define the function or when you want to call the function. Okay, so that's almost it for the objects. Notice that in JavaScript, for the objects, this is called property, and this is called the property values. So if you've learned Python and followed along with our Python tutorials, in Python we call this one the key, and this is called the value. But in JavaScript, instead of key, we call this property and the value. So this is just the way we call them. There is not a very big difference. In dictionaries of Python, we call this key, and this is nearly actually exactly the same, because later we can also use this in order to use it for JSON and for dealing with the JSONs, which is the which is the topic of the later tutorials. So that's it for the objects tutorials.